Hello and welcome to Wolf News at 6. My name is Laura Luderin.
And my name is Yan, and today we will be covering the Benghazi attack hearings.
Now, many of you may be wondering, what exactly are the Benghazi attacks?
That's a good point, Laura. Please clue us in.
Well, Yan, they all began when the U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans, Glenn Doherty, Tyrone Woods, and Sean Smith, were killed by an al-Qaeda-affiliated terrorist group. It happened on the night of the 9/11 anniversary assault at the U.S. diplomatic mission in Benghazi. The Americans were defending the compound and a nearby CIA annex when they were attacked. This caused mayhem in America, with many allegations being made about the events that occurred.
I cannot end here, Laura. Some people question why military backup was not sent in by Americans when the attack happened. The only backup that was sent in were former military soldiers that were seated in by the CIA. Other requests for military backup by the CIA were denied. It is said that if the military backup has been sent in, 2 lives could have been saved. Although it would have been Ambassador Chris Stevens' job to request military backup, that was not an option because he died early on. The deputy chief on mission at Benghazi was the next man responsible. While there are so many opposing viewpoints on what actually happened in Benghazi, hearings are being held because the Obama administration claimed that the attack was spurred due to anti-Muslim videos that were released. Most Democrats argue that the video caused the attack, whereas the Republicans argue that the Obama just said that to cover up because he claimed that al-Qaeda was not a threat.
But the opposing viewpoint is that the attacks were spurred by a simple terrorist attack, which Obama refused to call it. Either way, the big question at hand is, what really caused the attacks? And did the Obama administration lie to us just so he could get reelected?
Well, we will discuss all of this in our coming news report. Stay tuned and we'll be right back with the show.
Hello, my name is Kat and I'm here to bring you the latest report on the Benghazi attack hearings. Although the media has covered the raid in Libya, it hadn't really shown up in the top stories until now with the recent hearings. Republicans and Democrats began condemning each other's responses to Benghazi within hours of the first shots fired. The issue has gone up and down with attention ever since, revived by new testimony, reports, and documents. President Obama has been accused of downplaying the attack in Libya because the supposed real reason for the attack would put the Obama administration at fault for poor security on the night of the attack. The president upholds that the investigation of the event of that night investigated every element of the Benghazi incident. With further investigation, it was found that poor security was at fault, which the Obama administration eventually took responsibility for. Although there had been some scrutiny of how it seemed the Obama administration would not use the term terrorism when talking about the Benghazi attack, and speculating when exactly Obama used the term terrorism versus just terror attack. Although President Obama has maintained his argument that on the day of the attack, he did call it terrorism. Members of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee in the House of Representatives and Congress have held hearings which have resulted in several key pieces of information being revealed, bringing the country one step closer to knowing the truth about what really happened on September 11, 2012 at the U.S. compound in Libya. Republicans such as Ron Johnson have been blaming Hillary Clinton for having misled them into thinking that what happened in Benghazi was a protest and that an assault had spontaneously sprung out of that. The committee has also asked for Hillary Clinton's testimony in a hearing on the attack in Libya. The Republican-led investigation wanted to question Clinton on whether the State Department purposefully misled the public on the assault at Benghazi. Clinton was questioned about the security warnings in Benghazi, to which she denied knowing about. Also, her department's accounting of the incident at Benghazi came into question, and Clinton made it clear that there was no conspiracies and they take responsibility for their job to figure out what happened and to make sure it never happened again. Clinton's testimony focused not only on the attack, but also on the growing threat from extremists in northern Africa, pointing out that Libya was not an isolated incident. The final report announced that the security at the consulate in Libya was inadequate to deal with the Benghazi attack and absolved Clinton from further accusations. Testifying for Congress for the first time since the attacks in Benghazi on September 11, 2012, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton takes responsibility for the failures that led to the deaths of 4 Americans. In a Gallup poll, it found that only 53% of the country's citizens are paying attention to the congressional hearings on the Benghazi Libya attack. Over 50% of people who are aware of the situation are dissatisfied with what the Obama administration has done. Many people have agreed that the U.S. should worry on other issues that are present. It has been noted that although this had happened in September, nearly 8 months later, Republicans continue to investigate despite an exhaustive, independent review and hours of testimony from senior administration officials. quoted from the Washington Times. Republican lawmakers say they won't stop until they get their questions answered, and Democrats accuse the GOP of flogging the issue for partisan gain.
Were you aware of this cable, this August 16th cable?
Congressman, that cable did not come to my attention. I have made it very clear that the security cables did not come to my attention or above the Assistant Secretary level where the ARB placed responsibility, whereas I think Ambassador Pickering said the rubber hit the road. Now, I think...
Can I ask you a question? When were you aware of this cable?
After the ARB began to, gather information and material, which of course
who within your office did see this cable?
I'm not aware of anyone within my office, within the Secretary's office, having seen the cable.
Within the National Security Council?
I have no information or awareness of anyone in the National Security Council having seen that cable.
As we all know, we are all anxious about the fiscal cliff when all of our reductions on our taxes are going to expire. The expiration date was December 31st, 2012. But soon, Barack Obama signed a bill preventing the fiscal cliff from happening that would cause the U.S. to go into another recession. The question is, are budget cuts to blame for Benghazi attack, said by Joe Biden, our vice president? Joe Biden says that the State Department in charge of diplomacy actions declined more diplomatic security in Libya, causing the Obama administration to never receiving any accounts of requests for any more additional security in Libya. Joe Biden says that the budget cuts are connected with the deficiency of security during the attack in Benghazi. During one debate, Biden stated that the congressman here cut embassy security into his budget by $300 million below what we asked for, implying that more funding on this matter would have prevented the death of 5 Americans during the attack. But counter-argument by Charlene Lamb, a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Diplomatic Security, stated that it was not because of the lack of funding that caused not raising the number of people in security in Libya. One of the 5 foreign policy goals in national security is national security. Some say, including Barack Obama, that is a terrorist attack. So does this attack threaten our national security? Spokesman Jay Carney said Friday, May 10, 2013, House Republicans requested to issue memos about the administration's response to Benghazi attack in Benghazi, Libya, where deaths were resulted. The information was given months to congressmen during the confirmation hearings for John Brennan becoming CIA director. References to Al-Qaeda and obtained and released documents to ABC News were deleted from the final version of the talking points on talk shows. House Speaker John Boehner requested the White House to publicize all documents associated to the administration's reply to the Benghazi incident. Reporters questioned Carney if deleting the references to Al-Qaeda was to stop lawmakers to use it against the State Department. Carney said that the State Department had worries about keeping the reliability of the search and the agency's talkings only wanted to state what was known. President Barack Obama did call it an act of terror to begin with, according to Carney, an effort to blame the administration of hiding something that was not intended to hide. The only talking part that was mistaken was accredited the attack to a demonstration, which she said was correct once the administration knew it was a pre-planned act of terrorism.
Hello everyone, if you didn't catch my name before, my name is Laura. I'm here today to discuss with you in detail federal involvement in the Benghazi attack and the hearings along with it. Well, as we discussed before, there are 2 sides to the story of what really happened with the Benghazi attacks. But how can one argue that the attacks are because of the videos, called The Innocence of the Muslims, when released government emails show that the White House and the State Department were told that the Ansar al-Sharia had claimed credit for it just being a terrorist attack? Well, this is where the federal government gets involved. The White House is mostly involved because they are the ones being accused of lying. Also, the federal courts are the ones who hear these cases because they involve foreign affairs. The state governments are not involved in the Benghazi attacks. The federal government also includes the president, which is important because the president has the most ties to the public through media. By getting this issue known, media involvement increased, and therefore the public is now highly involved with these hearings. Well, that wraps up our show, viewers, and as we leave, ponder this. Whose side to the story are you on?